Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to continue taking a look into the price of XRP and discuss whether it needs to be a high value or not. This video is going to be a follow-up video where I want to take a further look into the reasons why XRP may be low priced and not necessarily reach those high price predictions that we see promoted out there by the XRP community, going from 100 plus up until $100,000 plus. So I do suggest you watch the videos in order. So watch part 1 first if you haven't already, as the videos in the series will be basically building off each other. So as we know already from precedent within the crypto space, that the tokens that tend to reach high price values usually have low supplies, and vice versa, whereby the tokens that have large supplies tend to find it much more difficult to reach high prices. We have yet to see a situation where a high supply token has reached high prices like Bitcoin in the crypto space, proving that market cap for utility tokens is truly meaningless. Because the argument that people mostly make is this token with a large supply would very unlikely reach this price because the market cap would be too large. But then we haven't seen an example where a token with a large supply has actually reached a high price yet. So when we look at XRP, for example, with a token supply of 100 billion, which by no stretch of the imagination it would be considered as a large supply token if comparing it to something like Bitcoin, Quant, or even Ethereum. Okay, we have not seen an example where a token like that has reached high values equivalent to the prices of Bitcoin or Ethereum for that matter. So you have to ask yourself, did not the creators of XRP know this? Didn't they know that a large supply token is unlikely to reach high values and stay there? Was it even their intention for XRP to be a high price token when creating it to begin with? So let's look at what Brad has to say as to why XRP was created to have a 100 billion supply.
Issued 100 billion XRPs will be enough to cover once the XRapid service scales to a global full scale, or would there be a shortage?
Well, so when XRP was created, this actually was created before Ripple existed. The creators of XRP decided there'd be 100 billion units because they saw it as rather than having a smaller number with a very high price, they saw it as something they wanted to be effectively a global reserve currency.
So the questioner asked him, would 100 billion XRP be enough to cover the service of XRapid at scale worldwide, or would there be a shortage in the supply of the tokens, basically? And for those who don't know, XRapid was the initial product or service of Ripple before rebranding it to ODL, whereby banks use XRP as a bridge currency in cross-border payments. So Ripple, prior to ODL, the product that banks would use, if they were going to use XRP for cross-border payments, was known as XRapid. That was later rebranded into what is now known as ODL. So Brad went on to explain in the video, when asked the question, that when XRP was created, initially the idea was for it to be a global reserve currency. And rather than XRP having a smaller number with a very high price, that's what he mentions, rather than XRP having, and he says, a smaller number with a very high price, then he sorts of cuts off and stops. However, even though he doesn't explicitly say it, it can be deduced what he is implying is that XRP was not created with the intention of it being a very high priced token. Hence why it has a large supply than a smaller one, because he clearly said rather than XRP having a smaller number with a very high price. So he acknowledges that for tokens to reach high prices, their supply has to be smaller in number. He acknowledges that. And he acknowledges also by saying that XRP is the opposite. It has a large number, a large supply of tokens. So that can basically mean he also understands that when he was talking about the reason why XRP was created, it was intentionally created to have a large number of tokens and to not necessarily reach a very high price, because they would have made it a smaller supply otherwise. Also, you can see that Brad didn't seem too overly concerned about there being a shortage in the supply of XRP to facilitate XRapid services. That could possibly be for two reasons. One, because as he implied, the supply of XRP is large, and another possibility because he knows with the velocity of XRP and recycling of the token, it does not really require that much tokens to handle settling the payments even at a low price, providing there is sufficient liquidity. So in a follow-up video, I'm going to be diving more into that claim, but in this video, I just want to focus on what Brad stated. I know some may say as a rebuttal to the video is, that was the initial purpose of XRP, but things have changed since then. But as a counter-argument, one could also argue nothing has changed really. XRapid has been rebranded into RippleNet with the name ODL, and the supply of XRP tokenomic-wise, nothing has changed. It is still the same, more or less, just a little under 100 billion tokens. And the price is still low. So it still has a high supply and a very low price. I mean, what Brad said and implied in that video as a response to the question still technically applies today. Nothing has really changed. So to conclude, from what Brad was saying, the goal of XRP on creation was not to have a small supply and high price, rather the opposite, with the idea of it being a global reserve currency. That was the initial intention behind the creation of XRP, according to Brad. And when you look at a global reserve currency, they do not necessarily have to have a high value in price. That's not a prerequisite that a global reserve currency needs to be $100,000 plus, $10,000 plus, $1,000 plus, $100 plus in valuation. Rather, what are important factors for a global reserve currency tends to be stuff like stability. The currency needs to be stable. Liquidity, there needs to be enough liquidity in order for banks around the world, central banks, financial systems to use the currency, to trade with it. There needs to be trust and also widespread acceptance of the currency internationally. So these are some of the factors that are important for a global reserve currency: stability, liquidity, widespread global acceptance, and trust of the token that is going to maintain its stable value. Now, needless to say, currently XRP does not even fulfill any of those important criteria either to be considered as a suitable global reserve currency. I mean, XRP isn't stable in price, there isn't sufficient liquidity. Okay, fine, it's trustless, one could argue, but still, I don't think the financial system would have trust in a token like XRP being their global reserve currency when no one has no control over it. So that's another thing. And when it comes to widespread acceptance, XRP has not received widespread acceptance as a cross-border intermediary asset, let alone widespread acceptance to be considered a global reserve currency. So I think we can easily dismiss the global reserve currency narrative for the time being as being an actual use case for XRP, and just focus on XRP's currency use case alongside its supply and whether it needs to be a high price or not. Its current use case now is that they want XRP to be a cross-border liquidity asset, a neutral bridge asset that can handle cross-border payments, and that's the narrative Ripple is pushing for the use case of XRP. And what we do know is that its supply is high, and as a result, its price is still low. And the discussion is whether it needs to be a high price or not. So that's all for now for this video. Until next time, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so as to not miss my next video.